my state of the internet address.
I wish people had focused more on creating recurring income by selling memberships instead of focusing on just one-time products. Or my stupid birth certificate. It's still not too late. Listen to Ravi J. Gopal's podcast at subscribeme.fm, learn about membership sites, online courses, and recurring subscriptions. And you could end up with more money than Donald Trump.
And welcome to the subscribeme.fm show. This is the podcast to listen to for learning about how to create membership sites and online courses, making, marketing, and monetizing digital content, the world of WordPress, and tools, techniques, and tips that you can use to create a long-term, profitable online business. I'm Ravi J. Gopal. I'm the host of this show. I'm also the co-founder and co-developer of DigitalAccessPass.com, arguably the best membership plugin for WordPress, fondly known as DApp. And you can fondly call me Big Chief, because today I'm a self-appointed, self-declared chief, not of any country or state, but a big chief in the world of online course creators and membership site owners and digital content marketing. And today's episode, I'm hoping to deliver a fun and inspiring state of the internet address that throws light on how I view the World Wide Web in 2017 and how far we have come since I got started online. Yes, episode number 50. So I wanted to celebrate the occasion by inviting a very special guest on the show. And that guest is none other than Rohan Prashant, my 13-year-old son, who has started his own podcast called Zombies and Heroes. It's a movie and TV review show podcast, and one of his most recent episodes in which he reviews the movie Split, starring James McAvoy and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, the same guy who created The Sixth Sense. And that episode is easily one of his best yet. So I asked him if he can create a solo segment for my show for this special 50th episode for you and for all future podcasters. And I wanted him to tell you firsthand about his experiences with being a first-time podcaster and also talk about his full workflow and take us from the time he comes up with an idea to the time he publishes it online and it goes live on directories like iTunes. So just so you know, he actually does all of this stuff end to end, all by himself, with absolutely no help from anybody. So here is Rohan from the Zombies Heroes podcast. Take it away, Ro.
Thanks, Dad. I'm going to start off from the very beginning, even before I started my podcast. So, my dad really urged me to start a podcast. For me, it was between two ideas, the NBA and movies. Those are two things I'm really passionate about. But personally, I felt like I would enjoy reviewing movies much more than talking about the NBA. And the most recent movie I had seen was Sully. It was very average and insanely mediocre, but I was thinking, sure, I'll just review this movie. And so my podcast is called Zombies Heroes. On the show, I review movies and TV shows. So you might be asking, why is it called Zombies and Heroes if you're reviewing movies? So when I was first creating the podcast, I had to think of a name. I originally wanted to name it like Rohan's Reviews or a bunch of other names, but they were all taken. And so I was thinking, but I couldn't really come up with any name. So I asked my dad, and he had a list of suggestions, and he was like, how about Zombies Heroes? And I was like, what? That has nothing to do with movies. And he said, you review everything from zombies to heroes and everything in between. And I was like, hey, that's pretty good. And so I stuck with it. One thing great about having the name Zombies Heroes was that it was very easy to get a logo. Zombies Heroes, all it needed was a zombie and a hero. So I looked on Fiverr for logo designers, and I found a few people that made logos, so I sent all of them emails. And my number one option replied. And so I asked him to make the logo of like a zombie and a hero facing next to each other, fighting each other. But when he made it, the zombie was red. And I don't know why, but that really bugged me. I felt like the zombie needed to be green. And so I asked him to make the same design but in green, and he did, and I absolutely loved it. And that's my current logo. The first part of the process is thinking of a movie to review. I'm going to explain to you the start to end process of making just one episode. I like to review movies that I either love, have many opinions about, or really, really hate. And once I have my movie, then I write down all my ideas on Notepad++. It's not in any sort of organized pattern at this point. Then I look through online articles, reviews, interviews, and more. I write down all the information I think I need to cover in the episode. Again, it's not in any organized pattern. This is my current new style for episodes. I started with my Moana episode where I had 50 lines of notes, but in my new episode of Split, I had 150 lines of notes. And I'm just trying to add more and more information in each episode and make the content much more interesting. After I have all my notes written down, I organize all of them into different sections, like the beginning and the intro, and reading the IMDb summary, and then the ending and the outro. And then I turn them into sentences, and then I read off of them. Then I'm ready to record. I record with the Audio-Technica ATR 2100 USB microphone. I have the software Camtasia Studio 8 on my computer. It allows me to record my computer screen and talk, and if I stutter or make a mistake or realize a mistake in my notes, I stop speaking. Then I wait 1 second and continue recording so that it's easier to edit out later. So after I finish my recording, I have a few audio clips saved to my computer. I then import the media to Camtasia Studio 8, and then I start editing. Camtasia is really good for editing, and my dad uses it as well. I personally don't enjoy editing. I enjoy the research and recording the most. Those are the things that are most interesting to me. So originally the file is a .camproj file, and I can't use that file. So I export it to a .wav file, and then I listen to the entire episode again to make sure I didn't mess up on any editing. To help perfect the audio, I submit the audio to a website called Offmonic. I enter in a summary, submit the WAV file, create a title, and start the production. Then, after it finishes processing, I have my final MP3 file. So I go to podbean.com where I host my podcast. It's a great host and it shows me all of my stats. Then I upload that finalized file, enter in a title and a description, and bam, I have a new episode. So when I first started working on my podcast, my dad had an extra mic, a mic that he had used, but it wasn't as good as I would like. So I connected it to my Mac and we recorded over a Skype call. My dad had some software on his computer which allowed him to record it. And so I had taken all of my notes and I was going to record it. And after I started, I completely blanked out and froze. I had all these lines I was supposed to say. I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And I said nothing. I had never been more terrified. I don't know why. And after I recorded it, I had to edit it. But the problem was, I didn't know how to edit audio. So I watched him edit it, and I did it with him. And I was shocked at how dull and choppy my words were. I was literally cringing at my own voice. When I had to depend on my dad, it took me 3 weeks to finish the first episode and 16 days to finish the second episode. Then, after watching Camtasia tutorials and having seen my dad edit, I learned how to edit my own show. So I started doing everything on my own and finishing entire episodes in 2 days. So after doing 5 episodes, my confidence and my voice and my tone had improved by 1,000,000%. Podcasting has made my life so much better already. It taught me how to edit podcasts, and it has just really become a fun thing to do throughout the week. My speaking and public skills and confidence have improved drastically. The hardest part of my podcast is consistency and confidence. It's difficult remaining consistent when you're not confident with the amount of downloads you're getting. But for me, the episodes are really fun to make, so I'm just going to keep doing it and having fun while doing it. I eventually want to build a much bigger audience for my podcast, and I want to be able to communicate my opinions with much more people, and I want to be able to feel that I am really good at podcasting. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for having me on the show.
Subscribe me.fm.
All right. Did you love that or did you love that? So my little dude is one hell of a handsome, smart, kind, and very entrepreneurial 13-year-old. So check out his podcast by searching iTunes or your favorite podcast app for the word Zombies Space Heroes, or just go to zombiesheroes.com. Okay, now let's get into my State of the Internet address, or you could even call it my State of the Internet Entrepreneur address. Almost everything in life is governed by the 80-20 rule. As recently as the early 2000s, doing stuff online was still pretty hard. There was no WordPress. You had to hand code all the scripts, like your contact us form, for example, which is how I got started with my main technical website, this site called webmasterinabox.net, which Google slapped at one point. I don't even know why. And then I had to convert that into a new domain called mywebmasterinAbox.com. So there's a quick aside in that as well. I was averaging about $4,500 a month in early 2000s, right? Which was more than I was making at my full-time day job doing programming. But I was working on the side, working nights and weekends on my website, webmasterinAbox.net. I repeat that because I want you to notice that it's a .net site. It wasn't even a .com, which actually belonged to somebody else, and they had simply parked it, and they hadn't even put up a website. So that's just to say that your domain name is really not all that important. It's what you do with it that's the key. So before we go further, I wanted to tell you about this 4-pronged backup strategy I use for all my home and business computers. So number 1, a service called Carbonite. It backs up everything in the cloud. Number 2, Google Drive. Number 3, I have 2 separate hard drives which separately get backed up from my computers. And 4, we have something in programming called source control. So it checks in all your source code, like the DApp code and all the plugins we have. And it keeps track of who made what changes. So it allows multiple people to work on the same code. So that's SVN, a source control called Subversion. You probably don't care about it. You probably don't need to know. And you don't even have to go that crazy with a 4-pronged approach, but you should definitely do at least 2 of those. 1 local backup and 1 cloud backup. I say cloud and not just local because, God forbid, fire and earthquakes and floods and stuff, or heat can destroy hard drives. You can spill a beverage on it. So at the very least, you should have 1 local and 1 cloud backup. And Carbonite is the absolute best cloud backup service there is. I've tested a lot of them. And the big problem with Dropbox and Google Drive is that those services create 1 main folder on your computer, right? It's called the shared folder. And whatever files you want to back up, you have to put it within that folder, and only that stuff gets backed up. So if you are, I don't know about how Mac users do it, but Windows users, for example, if you have stuff on your desktop, in your downloads folder, in my documents folder, my pictures and stuff, it's not going to get backed up. You cannot use the same shared folder with both Dropbox and Google Drive. So Carbonite is way cooler in that way. You don't have to collect everything under that 1 special folder. You just keep your files wherever you normally keep them, like my documents or my pictures, and Carbonite will back them up from wherever they are stored. And obviously, Carbonite works with both Windows and Mac. So if you don't have automated computer backups, Carbonite is the way to go. And now is the time to get it. For just a few more days, you can get a whopping 50% off the yearly price of a personal plan by going to subscribeme.fm/Carbonite. That's CARBONITE. So this offer is expiring shortly. No, it's not some fake scarcity thing. They do this about once every year or so and then pull the offer after about 2 weeks. So make sure you don't lose it. Check it out ASAP at subscribeme.fm/Carbonite. And you cannot even get this offer from their main website, available through this special partner offer only. All right, so back to the 80-20 rule. So back in the day, everything was super hard, right? No smartphones, no YouTube, no Vimeo, no Amazon S3, no Camtasia, no cheap hosting, no WordPress, which means you basically had to hand code your website using a tool like Dreamweaver or Shutter Front Page from Microsoft. And nobody, 99% of marketers did not know PHP, and it was so hard to find people because it's not like there was any Odesk or rather Upwork or Freelance or Elance. None of these outsourcing sites were there, so it was not easy to find programming help for a low cost. I'll talk about that and how that helped me launch my career in online marketing in a different episode. I remember using a huge 8mm Sony camcorder to record anything, right? Even my family videos, which was recorded using a massively humongous, heavy camcorder. And then I had to hook it up using special cables. In fact, at one point, I had to buy a laptop because my old laptop, there was no way to hook it up with a camcorder, so I had to kind of wait it out and buy a pretty expensive laptop just so I can digitize my camcorder tapes. So I had to hook it up using special cables to my laptop. Then I had to buy special hardware. It's like a hardware card that came with this expensive laptop. And then I had to buy special software that could then detect the tape being played on my camcorder, and then it could digitize it. So if I wanted to record a 3-4 hour tape, then it took about 6 hours because I had to set up the whole thing, and then I had to make sure I press play on the camcorder, make sure the software is recognizing it, and then I had to click record on the software. Then you would have to basically leave it running for as long as the tape was on, and then I would come back 3-4 hours later and then see that the software had crashed. I had to redo the whole thing all over again. The software to do the recording cost like $500, and a good camcorder was like $1,000. Internet speeds were super slow. I actually remember that back in 2001, I was looking to rent an apartment, and because I was doing so much online stuff at the time on the side, so any location I was going to move to absolutely had to have internet access. That's the first thing we looked for. And I had to give up on several nice apartments. This was back in New York, Upper Westchester, because they did not have any way to get internet access because the building itself did not have that capability. And because it was not like in the center of the city, the phone and cable companies had not yet bothered to wire that locality yet, which means the only way for me to get access to the internet was to put up my own satellite dish. But in many cases, the building owners did not allow tenants to put up their own satellite dishes. And remember, this isn't like, my grandfather, God bless his soul, talking about, oh, the good old days, it was so awesome, you guys are spoiled. It's not like 50 years ago or 70 years ago. I'm talking about things barely 10 years ago. And it's absolutely crazy to think how far we have come in such a short duration of time. In 1998, I was trying to sell a baby names book online from my website, babynamesindia.com. The website still exists, just hasn't been updated in like forever, 10 years plus. But you can actually, if you go to the website, you can see how terrible the website is and how things were barely 15 years ago. So in 1998, I was still back home in India, and it was so incredibly hard to sell online, especially if you're not in the US. There was no PayPal, no Stripe, no Square, and even the few payment processors that did exist would not take on US vendors. And I was rejected by at least 10 different payment processors because I was not in the US. Anything outside the US was considered high risk, and there were 0 payment processors in India because back then banks were actually still pushing papers. Even the banks, national banks, had not yet gone digital. So none of the local banks had ATMs or even computers. They were all doing this stuff on big, humongous ledgers. So I had to go get a high deposit account with Citibank, one of the few international banks that opened up a branch in my locality. And so just so I could have access to an ATM in case I needed emergency cash. And there was one ATM in like a radius of like 30 miles. And I'm actually thankful for all those hardships because otherwise I wouldn't have taken the steps I took in my life and ended up where I am right now. And with my wife's blessings, Veena Prashant, who's the other co-founder and co-developer of DAP, we got the ball rolling on getting a work visa for both of us. And we finally arrived in the US in March 2000 with a job in hand. And we had like $500 in our pockets. That was it. We gave away everything back home in India. We transferred stuff to my parents' house, just 2 suitcases each. That's how we landed in the US with literally, she had $500 worth of cash. I had $500 worth of cash. That's it. And because stuff was so hard online, 80% of the people pretty much did nothing. And believe me, I've tried to get a lot of my friends and family members to do stuff online, but there was always one excuse or the other. And only 20% of people would venture out to do those hard things, like creating a website, creating video, creating a podcast, selling online. But today, technology is so easy and so inexpensive that 80% of the people are doing things because it's so easy to register a domain name, throw up a website with WordPress on it, create a sales page, and be selling in like an hour, start to finish. Especially if you have like Thrive themes or lead pages or something, is you can just drag and drop, build a sales page, and you can be launching your product. Hook up a buy button. If you know how to use DApp, if you have DApp, it takes literally 2 minutes to create a new product. Set up a price, set up a PayPal button, boom. In 1 hour, you can be selling online, starting from scratch. So 80% of the people are doing something, but only 20% of them are getting results because there's too much noise. When I go to Facebook, everybody has a lead magnet. Everybody is doing a webinar. Everybody is selling a book. Everybody has an online course. Everybody has a consulting or coaching service, right? It's so hard to cut through the clutter and set yourself apart. So for people looking through an excuse, there's always going to be one readily available. It's either too hard or it's too easy, which means there's too much competition. But things have never, ever been more exciting in the world of online marketing and e-commerce and digital products and services. You want a domain name? Go to GoDaddy. Best prices, best support. Of course, don't use GoDaddy for hosting though, just domain names. Hosting, Liquid Web, SiteGround, Amazon AWS, Google Cloud. You want video hosting? YouTube, Vimeo, Wistia, Amazon S3. You want content management? Look no further than WordPress. Thousands of amazing free plugins and themes. You want a drag and drop theme? No problem. There's Thrive Themes, OptimizePress, Lead Pages. You want a membership platform that can accept payments, automate your content delivery? Look no further than digitalaccesspass.com, DApp. Of course, I'm biased because I'm the co-founder and co-developer, but that doesn't mean that it's not the best. It is arguably the best membership plugin. Of course, there are also other non-WordPress alternatives like Kajabi, Teachable, Udemy. Podcast hosting, you have Libsyn, Blueberry, Podbean. Literally thousands of free resources or pretty much inexpensive resources for anything you can think of these days. Whatever you want, there's a plugin for that, or a website for that, or an app for that, or a service for that. You want to hire people? Fiverr, Upwork, Freelance. Project management, Wunderlist is my personal favorite for personal task management. That's WUNDER list, Wunderlist. Then there's Asana and Trello for bigger projects. Chat, there's Skype, WhatsApp, Slack. Video tools, how about you start with your amazing smartphone that can actually shoot in 4K and no need for expensive, 20-pound, $1,000 camcorders anymore. How about the most amazing software tools like After Effects and Photoshop, Adobe Audition, all available for like $30 a month. Free has never been better. With free tools like Auphonic and Audacity and WordPress and GIMP and OpenOffice. So I remember I was working for a .com company back in 2000, and we were paying as a company like nearly $10,000 a month just to host the main website on these so-called massive servers within the data center in a local ISP's building. $10,000 a month. And every time we wanted to work on that server, you had to literally drive down to the server building. You had to walk to your server and update the software, or if you wanted to reboot it, and so on. Today, that same high-powered hosting will cost you a mere couple of $100s a month. You pay a couple of $100 more, they will even take care, some like really highly qualified system admin will take care of the server management for you, like updating the operating system and security and all the stuff. You have WordPress and you need security? WordFence, free. iTheme security, free. You want computer backups? Carbonite. Like $5 stinking bucks a month, right? $60 a year. And actually, like I said before, right now you get 50% off of that even crazy low $5, and you pay half of that. Unlimited files, unlimited backups. That's just insane. So go to subscribeme.fm/Carbonite. Amazing video creation tools. Camtasia, Powtoon, Prezi, Animoto, Sony Vegas, Adobe Premiere, After Effects, on and on and on. Couple of $100. That's it. Live video communication. You have Google Hangouts, which is free. Facebook Live, free. Periscope, free. I have a full-blown professional-looking video studio in my house, and it cost me just a few $100s, including the huge white screen background. And if I wanted a green screen, $20, $30 more. I can get a full green screen and I can make myself as if I'm standing in the middle of a football stadium. Video stand, 5-point lighting, camera stand, teleprompter. If you had to put all of this together, merely like 5-10 years ago, it would have cost you like $30,000. Today, it costs less than $500. It's just mind-blowing how far technology has come and how much of it is free or super low cost. You want to meet people socially or professionally, or even to find future partners for your business? There's a meetup for that in every city, in every industry imaginable. You want to learn something? Amazing websites that have incredible video-based training. There's a site called masterclass.com, no affiliation here. You can learn singing from Christina Aguilera, acting from Kevin Spacey, cooking from Gordon Ramsay, tennis from Serena Williams, screenwriting from Aaron Sorkin, the social network guy. You want to learn performing on stage? Usher will teach that to you. How much? 90 stinking bucks. That's it. You want someone to sing a song for you professionally, like this?
What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty smart man. It's probably what a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty tech man. Yeah, probably is crazy. What a man.
No problem. $30. You want a guy to do a celebrity impersonation for your product, like this?
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you want to build a profitable online business, listen to Ravi Jagopal's podcast at subscribeme.fm. Start creating membership sites and recurring products, and that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you keep selling those stupid one-time products, then I will look for you. I will find you, and I will make you subscribe at subscribeme.fm.
How cool is it to have Liam Neeson from the movie Taken promoting your podcast? I don't know who you are, right? Or President Barack Obama. Or Morgan Freeman doing a promo for you.
I should have started a membership site when I was still at Shawshank, but I didn't. There's not a day goes by I don't feel regret. Back then, I was a young, stupid kid who committed that terrible crime of selling just one-time products. I want to talk to him. I want to try and talk some sense into him, but I can't. That kid's long gone, and this old man is all that's left. I gotta live with that. But you don't. Go listen to Ravi Jagopal's podcast at subscribeme.fm and learn about creating membership sites and a subscription-based recurring income stream. Andy Dufresne listened to Ravi, and that got him out of this one-time product hell, where you're always killing yourself, trying to sign up new customers. And they crawled through a river of shit and came out clean on the other side. And you can too. Subscribeme.fm.
And the crazy thing is, when I had the Obama impression done in October 2015 through Fiverr.com, it was actually more than a year before the election cycle even started. And it's kind of fateful that both Obama and Trump were in my actual promo. And that promo cost me like $30. And I got the dramatic music for Liam Neeson, a video on Audio Jungle for like $10. That's the best place to buy all kinds of audio from really, really professional, super awesome sounding musicians, audiojungle.net. Listen, I know this episode probably comes across as a little preachy, but let me tell you, I just wish I could literally reach through your headphones, shake you a little bit, gently, of course, and tell you how badly I wish I could transfer everything in my head to yours. That's how badly I want you to be successful. That's how passionate I am about sharing my knowledge, my energy, my enthusiasm. No, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And no, I wasn't born into great poverty and mine is not a rags to riches story. I was actually raised very comfortably by my parents. I was never poor, ever. Lower middle class, for sure. And then you could even say upper middle class for the most part. They paid for my education, my college, even my wedding. Okay, never had to work a day in my life until I got out of college and actually had to start looking for a job. Even then, my parents supported my entrepreneurial goals and they helped me get a loan. And my father even loaned a bunch of money to me in the beginning. Of course, I paid him back for my first brick and mortar business. I wouldn't be here without everything I got from simply being born to the right parents. Okay, there's a lot of luck involved in that. But I have also gone through some tough times in my life. Horrible bosses. No, I'm not talking about having Jennifer Aniston as a horrible boss, but we're talking about a very real, extremely abusive situation where I was mentally pushed to the brink and went to a pretty dark place for a while. I was fired from 2 jobs not too long ago, and both times it really set back my ability to get a green card by many, many years. So lots of woulda, coulda, shouldas in my life, but the one thing nobody can take away from me is my passion and commitment for what I do. And that is digital product creation, content marketing, selling online, WordPress, tools, all digital, all the way. So what's that saying that goes? Smart people learn from other people's mistakes. That's what I'm trying to bring to this podcast, to help you learn from my mistakes and from my experiences. There is nothing you cannot do today. There is nothing you cannot learn today. There is nothing you cannot achieve today. You just got to want it really bad. If you think you don't have the money to buy the tools or the training or the coaching you need, or for buying ads on Facebook or Instagram, I see people posting this on Facebook all the time. I don't have money to promote my stuff. So they just go on to create more stuff and they never promote it. So listen to some of my previous episodes where I talk about creation versus promotion. So I have an entire episode planned where I'm going to show you how you can get the cash to pay for pretty much everything you need. So stay tuned for that. You don't have to have all the answers before you get started. The answers will come. The path will reveal itself. It's like that Indiana Jones movie where he goes searching for the Holy Grail and he has to cross this huge precipice and there's nothing there, and he remembers that he has to take the leap of faith, and he does, and a bridge miraculously appears beneath his legs just as he's about to fall. You just have to take that leap of faith, and a bridge will appear beneath your feet. You just have to keep doing. I have literally stumbled into things my entire life. Some people would call it dumb luck. Some people would call it being in the right place at the right time. I just call it non-stop action, like a Fast and Furious movie. Fast action, massive action, constant experimentation and execution. A lot of failures, some successes. Implementation, sleeping 4 hours a night, at least in the beginning. I no longer do that. I get a full 8 hours now that I'm in a much better place. But when I was hungry and when I was working and all I could think of is when I could quit my job, and when I could go out on my own, I was waiting for my green card. That's when I was at my most aggressive best. Learning and doing coding by my father's deathbed. Typing my book on the train to work at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. Sacrificing everything else except my highest priorities, which were kids, my wife, parents, a couple of friends. So if you just want a chill life, go to work, come back, crack open a cold one, watch a couple of sitcoms, go on Facebook and get into a political debate, that's cool too. Nothing wrong with that. But that's just not how I'm wired. You cannot sit around and wait for your true calling to find you. Very few people will know what the true calling is from a very young age. Some people will find it along the way just by doing and figuring out what is not for them, and eventually they will find out what is right for them, and I fall into that category. And don't forget, I'm here to help you. You don't have to do it alone, okay? Email me at Ravi, R-A-V as in Victor I, at subscribeme.fm and ask me for help. And ask me how I can help. I can help in some way or the other. We can figure it out together. Or just go to subscribeme.fm and click on this Contact Ravi link. A wise man once said, "You cannot control time, but you can control what you do with it." One life to live, my friend. Don't waste a second. Work hard, play hard. Figure out your priorities, ignore everything else, lock down, and execute like crazy. Good luck and have a wonderful life. Until the next time, thank you so much for listening to the show. I really, really appreciate you letting me into your personal space. I hope I added some value to your life, and if I did, I would be absolutely thrilled and honored if you would tell a friend about this show. You could post a link on your Facebook account or any social media account. Just post a link to subscribeme.fm, if you will. Cheers and talk soon.